Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a bit of a different one. I was trying to pare down all the attacks in Standard from My Hero Crimson Rampage to Attack on Titan, Battle for Humanity, plus the Challenger deck. I was trying to pare it down to the top 10 attacks in Standard. I got down to 25 before I just said, you know what? I think we're just gonna stick at 25. So we'll see if that holds for actions. I think pretty sure the attack's gonna be kind of tough because I didn't really want it to be all secret rares or all ultra rares, which I think there might be no commons or uncommons on here at all. There were a couple of them, and they were like the final cuts. Lizard Tail Splitter and Flash Fire Fist Jet, whatever, the Hell Spider, the Endeavor 3 attack. Those are those are the last two common uncommons. Okay, sorry, Smashing Stomp is on here. That is considered an uncommon. So I tried to base it off of certain criteria. Did they need other cards to make them more powerful? Did they change game state? Did they allow you to kill your opponent? I mean, any card can kill your opponent, but was it considered like you play this card, your opponent groans, right? Sure. On the list, we do see Big Fist Bash, and we do see Absorb Energy Spirit Strike, which are better as blocks in some cases, but they're still on there because they still warrant other modes in the game, not just defensively. So let's go ahead and get into it. Our first one is High Velocity Slice. This is one of my favorite attacks. So there may be a little bit of bias also, because you can't do a top 20, you can't do a top X list without some bias, right? So High Velocity Slice, this coming out of the Attack on Titan set for air, really states that it has to be, yes, it has to be the first attack in your card pool, but we're normally playing 5 diffs anyways, and it progresses our game state to getting more momentum. It is decently statted at a 4 high for 5, stun 1, breaker 1, so it does have, it is, as the kids call it, it is modal, I guess, is what they say. It is offensive and defensively used. The two blitzes aren't terrible. Get the momentum, and then if we get more momentum and they go in the deadlock, we get extra stun. So in a way, this is not in any order from first to last, because I don't think High Velocity Slice is the best attack in the game. So hold your horses, people who are thinking that's what it's like. It's just the way I entered it in on Ultra. Massive Swing is probably the most biased pick out of all of them. It's my favorite attack out of Attack on Titan. It's a 5 difficulty, 5 mid for 6, so it's statted very, very well. Powerful 2, awesome. Also, it gives us momentum for that powerful 2 if we need it. So it's self-fulfilling. It provides its own fuel for its own abilities, which really makes an attack super efficient, that we're not relying on other pieces of the puzzle. So this, on base value, this is a 5 mid for 8 on a 5 diff, which is really, really good. Next up is our first ultra rare, Swarm by Titans. It's a 5 difficulty, 3 check, 5 high for 5, plus high block. Breaker 1, Deadlock Stun 2. Blitz, your next check this turn gets plus X. X equals your momentum plus 1. So you can have no momentum and still get a payoff from this Blitz, which is very, very hard sometimes. You're playing Blitz effects. Sometimes being at the beginning of the enhanced step, it's really hard to sequence things. I know there are some attacks in Attack on Titan where wow, if this was an enhanced, this card would be way better because we could sequence our attacks, our abilities properly. Also, it has Breaker on a high block, which is great, fantastic. Never going to complain about that. Also, it gets us +1 to our check. So if it's our first attack, it basically, our next attack doesn't count towards, it doesn't, ignores progressive difficulty, which is fantastic. Next up, our first secret rare, well orchestrated attack. This is always +1. It's always draw 1 or 3, and then it's going to be 5 high for a kabillion damage. If you're a 6-hander, it's 6 damage. Um, if you only draw 1, granted, it's for 8 if you draw the 3. So at base, it's a 10 to 12 damage move if you're a 6-hander, 11 to 13 if you're a 7. So this thing is always online. It's always going to get you something for playing it. The 2 check's a little rough, but I'm really excited to see what decks can play this because this is one of my favorite cards out of Attack on Titan. Next up, the only 4-check attack in the list. I know, surprising. Ravages of War is just a ridiculous card. I could see non-4-check decks, non-4-check decks play this card. It's so good. Your rival discards a card. They sacrifice a foundation. They spend a momentum, all before the enhanced step. Granted, the response is usually a little tougher to pull off, but it's it's in one of those 8 high 8s. Your rival has to deal with it somehow. They can't go down to 1 card if they know you're playing Ravages of War. They just can't. Which plays into your favor if you're playing these types of cards because your rival won't build out as much, which means it's harder to block. Also, because if they do build out, they're going to want to build out because you actually blow up their foundations. So they're stuck in this weird conundrum of, well, I can't play every attack in my hand, but I have to kind of build every foundation in my hand, but I can't win the game unless I don't play attacks from my hand. So they're in this weird conundrum about they have to build for 2 to 3 turns in case you start ravaging and war them like crazy. Next up is the hottest button ever, the hottest topic, hottest take ever, Risky Encounter. 5 difficulty, 3 check, 4 high for 4, +1 high block, stun 1, fury weapon. Blitz, you get damage equal to the difference between your foundations and your rival's foundations. But the real point of this card is that's not even the biggest. The biggest point of contention on this card is the form discard pile, sacrifice 3 foundations, try to play this attack from your discard pile as your next form. It gets -2 difficulty. So people are just dying from people yeeting their entire staging area and just playing as many riskies as possible, which is making people really mad, which I can understand. It comes in at least, if you're, it comes in with that. If you're equal foundation-wise with your rival, it comes in at 7 damage. It could be more. So it's just really, really, I guess, frustrating. It's like you block all your rival stuff, and then they just keep chucking foundations into the discard pile to play these attacks. And excuse me, like discard attack effects don't work against this. So like decoy duplicate says, "Ha, well, I guess you have to destroy 3 more foundations, nerd." So, but maybe they probably just will. Next up was Midst of Despair. This was the next one up on the chopping block, but I wanted a nice even 25 because I couldn't find another 4 to cut it to 20, I think. So this would have been the next cut off the list, mostly because it has to hit. It's a 2 high for 6. It really needs you to gain the health to get the extra speed. But I left it on here just because of the ignore progressive to your next card you try to play. Often this is like at the end of a long string and your rivals either tap for blocks or tap for resources, or they don't want to block this because of whatever's coming next. So yeah, but again, it would be the next off the list if I was cutting further. Electric Moth, it's 4 difficulty, 3 high 4, 3 check. It's on here because it's one of the best cycle draws in the game. You discard a card, draw 2 to 3, depending on your rival's foundations. So your rival has a little bit of say in it, but you can always just draw 2. So it's always good. Smashing Stomp would probably be in that same Midst of Despair argument. It could come off the list, but I think it's good enough to where it warrants a slot here. It's a 5 difficulty, 3 check, 4 low for 6. Enhance, your next check to plane attack is +1, so it self-fuels the next move. Also, if it deals damage, you get to draw a card. Sure, the EX3 needs momentum. It doesn't self-fuel momentum, but it is a 4 low for 6. It is decently statted for a 5 diff, and that +1 to your next check. So if you lead with this, it basically is in the same realm of the Swarm by Titans. It always gives you +1 to check, even though Swarm by Titans was for any card, and this is for just attacks. And then we got Black Abyss. Yeah, it's Black Abyss. This card's crazy. It's insane. It's a 5 low for 6 on a 5/3 with the 1 low block. If it deals damage, your next check to play an attack, it's +1, same as Smashing Stomp. Also in the momentum, you get +X and X for every copy of Black Abyss in your momentum. So it scales upon itself. It just gets insane and it is crazy in multiples. Lightning Rod was a close cut, mostly because no one play. It's like that 2 check is really really real. It's really rough if you check it, but I think the pros outweigh the cons because any 2 check is bad if you check it right. But you get defensively, you get to go -4 damage, get a momentum. Very cool. Also enhance, build the top 2 cards of your deck face down. At the start of your end phase, remove them. So it builds in cards for you to keep going. It's a very, very good two-way card. Very good two-way card. Also in the same vein as Big Fish Bash. Sure, you have to play a long string. Yes, you have to play mids to pick up other things. But Breaker 3 on an attack is very good. So again, I could see arguments to cut this because by itself, it's kind of lackluster. It's just a 3 mid 3. Plus the block mod is horrendous. But it does get -1 difficulty if you have 3 or more cards. So yes, you do have to kind of build around it. So that's why it's in the lower, in my opinion, in the lower tier of it. Because you need other pieces to build around it. It's a Shining Flash. Yeah, man, like, this card's insanely good. Flip a Foundation to have your next attack ignore basically -1 diff, so this card doesn't count towards progressive. Response after you play this card as an attack or block. Your rival kicks a momentum, so that's really good. It has relevant keywords. It has a very nice low block. It's fantastic. Like, if you play these symbols, you need to have at least 2 to 3, maybe pack 1 in the board as well. Battle Aura release. Yeah, this is easily top 5 attack in the game. We flip to draw cards. It self-scales its own damage. Problem is it just maxes out at 4. So, but yeah, it's Battle Aura release. Or BAR for short. Absorbed Energy Spirit Strike. This is on the list. This is probably one of the best blocks in the game currently. That doesn't have breaker on it. After you block this card, flip the blocked attack after it resolves. So it denies momentum, it denies combos. And then you get the top card of your deck into your momentum, which is great. Also, flip side, your rival discards 1 momentum. This attack gets X damage. X equals the difficulty of the discard momentum. Sure, you don't get any say in it about how much damage, your damage potential, like your cap, because if your rival has a foundation in, they're just going to kick that, right? They're not going to give you 5 damage for free. But this does allow you to have some momentum control and say in how much momentum your opponent gets to have. Next up, it's Walk the Dog. Yeah, it's Walk the Dog. I know it's an 8 diff by itself, but yeah, it needed to be on here. It's never an 8 diff. It's like if we were going under, like, man, if I really stuck to my criteria of solo this card does it all, this card would come off the list. Yeah, I've killed people with this as an 8 diff, but again, I had a bunch of momentum and I was Toga 3, right? So I would probably cut this, to be honest, along with, Smashing Stomp and Big Fist Bash and Midst of Despair. So we're almost to 20 now, because it by itself, it's an 8/6/6. That, POW 3, but you need momentum, stun 1, draws a card. So it's not terrible, but as an 8 diff, it's just not the best. Ice Sword Execution, name a foundation, commit all copies, fantastic. freezes, gets extra damage, but just by itself, a 5 high for 5 that commits all copies. So if your rival has multiples, they have to commit them all. It's fantastic. It literally can say, it says on there, you don't see it, stun 1 to 4. It's great. Or more if you have copies, because you have to actually technically commit your copies too. One of the most underplayed attacks in the format right now, in my opinion, Double Spirit Blast. 5 difficulty, 3 check, 4 mid for 6. It basically is a 5 mid for 6, right? Because it gets your opponent's block mods get +1. It has an echo, so it's even good at it's good by itself. It's better as an echo, so I guess that can be the thing. Like, it has to be good as itself, but it can be accentuated by other abilities. But yeah, like, this card is crazy. I think it's just really hard because right now the all-in life symbols are kind of fighting for 5 diff slots because, like, you could run Dragon Strike in this spot. Dragon Strike's a fine card. You also can run Dual Needle Lunge, Repeated. Yeah, it's hard. The 5 diff slots on these symbols, I think, except for Good, but Good could also play. I think that's it, right? Like, do I see any 5 diffs on Good here? No. So yeah, like, we're playing this on Good, right? Like, this is our 5 diff, unless we're playing like Punches or something like that. Rip Back Alley Haymaker. Blue Flame Torment. This card's been terrorizing me ever since it came out. It's a 5 difficulty, 3 check, 5 low 5. It self-fuels its own damage. So you make them check a 6. Also, it gives your next check to plane attack. +1 if they fail it. So in theory, you get to stun 2 to plus if they want to pass it, or you get 2 damage and +2 to your next check, which is really cool. Like I was saying, Dragon Strike's fighting for slots in the life and all sections for the 5 diffs. Being able to control your opponent, your rival's foundations are great by flipping them. Also, the deadlock response is sick. You get to play this card, you get the top 2 cards, check your momentum. It self-fuels, it's EX and powerful if your opponent's in deadlock, which is cool. But really, this card works on block and on attack for the actually, interesting. I just realized this. The deadlock response also works if you block with it. If your rival is in deadlock, that's crazy. Being able to get momentum on defensively for defensive effects is fantastic. Falling Skies is Falling Skies. Sure, you have to kind of build around it, but it can become a throw at 4 high for 6, and that's nothing to scoff at. It has a nice low block. It has a good keyword. It self-pumps. Yeah, it does everything you want it to do in a 4 diff. It's a secret rare. It just does. Now, coming into the bottom 4, the last 4 attacks, this is also in set order, so that's why, if you haven't noticed, it's in set order. 5 difficulty, 3 check, 4 high for 6. Fast Hybrid Chimera Kraken needs no introduction. This card is one of the best cards, one of the best attacks, if not one of the best cards in the game right now. Being able to commit and freeze a rival problem foundation, being able to commit a rival asset like Cape or VME is super, super good. Also, it has a momentum ability that you get 2 free speed once per turn, so it's really good in different spots. The 2 high block isn't terrible, but yeah, this is easily top 5 card in our game right now. Repeated 100% smash. Yes, it's a build around for punches, but hear me out. It's a 4 difficulty, 3 check, 4 high for 6, EX powerful. Yeah, it's like base stats, a 4 difficulty, because if we check a 4 or a 3, we get to ready 1. So it always has 1 to ready, which is great. So if you check a 5, you're also, and you have a committed foundation somehow, you're also plussing there. You're refunding things, which is great. But yeah, it's just yeah, sure, you need to build around it to make it really worth it. But like being able to ready 1 after you check a 5, it's really good. Dual Needle Lunge. 5 difficulty, 3 check, 3 high for 5, 3 low block. Block sucks, but it's fine. EX2, if it's added to momentum face up, we get to go face up. The momentum face up ability doesn't matter unless like we're fighting Rodon or whatever, and we can flip to make them mill the top 2 to guess what the top 2 are. But really, we like this because We play it, we cut the 3, we get momentum instantly. If they take 5 damage, even better. A lot of the times people don't want to block this just because it's going to self-clear normal momentum, and it's not worth blocking because something bigger may be coming. Invisible Infiltration. Sure, we don't get to use the Breaker 2 unless we're Hagakure, but we get extra damage for our rival playing the game, and we get to refund foundations that we flipped over, like a Keiko's Aid, like Fearsome Transformation on Earth. There's a or like So Manly's or whatever, or we get to reset Defiant stances after they've been committed. But yeah, this allows us to refund some of those flip costs and reuse them. So this is the top 25 attacks, by my opinion, in Standard. I know that I could probably just go to UVS Ultra, I'm on there now, and try to find what are the... You know what? Let's take a look. Let's see if we can find that. Card search. Stats. Card statistics. Card types. Attack. Apply. No filter. There we go. We got. Did it not work? I guess it's not working. All cards. Let's see if this works. Apply. It's taking forever. I don't know if it's going to work. Okay, so we got air. Okay, cool. We got no filter. Apply. We just want attacks. Apply. Let's try this again and see if it works. Maybe I should have done this preemptively, but I don't know if it's gonna take it's gonna be any. So let me see if I can do it on my phone because I'm doing like multiple things on my computer right now. Stats, card statistics, no filter. Definitely takes forever. Oh yeah, this takes forever. Oh gee, mini Christmas. It's even taking forever on my phone, so I'm not gonna worry about it. So I guess I just broke UVS Ultra because it's taking forever to do this. So that's it for the video, guys. Thanks for coming to the video. Again, this is the top 25 attacks in Standard. Let me know what you think in the comments below. This is nuts because it's actually, I think, doing everything in the game instead of just Standard. They should be a Standard marker. But anywho, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Okay, well, okay, there. Boom, we went backwards. Oh my God, all right there. Oh my word, it's crazy. So anywho, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and until the next one, take care.